Welcome back, Mr. Goodberry. The First Star Logistics studio is fully equipped and ready to record.
Your Cincinnati Bengals appear to be back on the right track, winning in Arizona 34-20, scoring 30 points, but appearing to be back on the right track. Everyone declaring that they may just be back. Joe Burrow may be back to his old self. This is Bengals on the Brain. I'm Joe Goodberry. The show is presented by First Star Logistics. If you got into the contest for the big neon Bengals sign, the winners were announced yesterday. Check Twitter. Check my Twitter at Joe Goodberry. Check First Star's Twitter at First Star Log. And you'll see that. You'll see the next contest. Make sure you get into those. But as we dive in the film, I just finished it. I clipped a bunch of plays and I said, let's go right away. Let's jump right into this because if he's back, how do we know he's back? These are the plays that let us know, or at least give us a hint, and hopefully he is. But these are the plays to tell us that Joe Burrow is back. All right, after a successful first drive, the Bengals find themselves within the 5-yard line and heading in, trying to score against Arizona to get their first touchdown in the first half of the entire season. And we're looking to the right. Joe Burrow's looking to the right. So we got a combination route here between the Bengals as they're going to kind of bring Irwin into the fold behind Irv Smith and then send him out across the end zone while Irv's going to try and tie up the two of them before releasing and going up. So hopefully Irv can tie up this defender and this defender can't get over the top. Maybe you can mix them up with a switch release. And if so, you should get a wide open Trenton Irwin, excuse me. But as you see, as Burrow hits his back foot, nobody's open. All of these guys are covered. I mean, that's not ideal. And then watch Jamar Chase at the top. So when everyone's covered there, he's going to peel off and spin around and find the open area between two defenders in which Burrow sees it at the exact same time. That's the connection those two guys have. And he's going to lay it in there between the two. And it's a really heady play as he's looking, obviously, to his right real quick, realizes nobody's open, breaks the pocket as pressure comes up, and he flips it between two defenders. Moving in the pocket, extending plays, coming back on the backside. Let's focus on Jonah Williams because that's where the pressure came from on that side. Let's see what happened as the pass rusher is going to and Jonah gets out there wide. So I think that's why the pass rusher says, okay, I'm going to take the inside positioning and try and beat him inside since he's set so far out. And what Jonah wants to do is power step and ride this guy through the pocket if he can. Don't let him completely disengage and sack your quarterback. Burrow looks up, sees Jamar Chase, turn, throws it. Man, the timing between those two. That should have told us for the rest of the day that their timing is going to be on point. The next play that told me he might be back is actually a sack, which is weird. But if we look to the right here, as we got all three receivers on the right, they're covered again. Same situation. And we've got pressure on the backside. Burrow spins out of it, spins away, jumps over another defender, and then gets absolutely crushed. So why is this a sign that he is back? Well, in the previous weeks, he probably would have found a way to chuck this ball and get rid of it as quickly as possible. And instead here, he's staying on his feet, able to make guys miss. I mean, that's old Joe Burrow. He's done that plenty of times, making guys miss, jumping over, spinning around. Yeah, he got sacked. It is what it is. Let's focus on Orlando Brown Jr. at the left tackle spot. That's where the pressure will come from on this play. As we showed last time, the defensive end went with the power move onto the inside. Orlando Brown's going to overreact to that fake inside. Look at him. This guy's looking dead inside here. So Orlando Brown's going to shift all 370 pounds of that inside, and that's when the rusher is going to dip back out, knock that hand down, or at least try to. He never really does get it off. Maybe that's why he doesn't come away with the sack here. Burrow spinning out of it, jumping over, and ultimately just too hard to get away from that. But the agility, the willingness to try and create and make a play, that's worth something. Next play I've got very similar. So we're going to get an RPO look on the left side here as Burrow's going to take the snap and he's going to look to the left like maybe I can throw the slant right here to Chase. And instead, he's got pressure from the backside. And I wonder if he could now, like a quarterback, I think a Pat Mahomes, a Josh Allen, some of the rare guys here probably would say, you know what, let me just chuck this thing all the way down right here. And Chase is going to outrun these guys, right? Like, does anyone have any doubt? Spoiler alert, later he will do exactly that. So I don't think it's that crazy to say. I think other quarterbacks may have, and maybe Burrow would also. Let's give him some credit here. But spinning around, planting his feet, and then he's going to go to Joe Mixon on the check down here, who gets wrapped up by his ankles for minimal gain. But still, why does this say he's back? Man, then those movements in the pockets. Let's watch Orlando Brown from the left side here and see where that pressure comes from. Brown's going to step inside towards 52, interestingly enough, and then has to go outside. And I don't know if he misses or if he's intentionally missing. I don't think he's intentionally, because there are times, if we go back, there are times where you may shoot your hands, get the pass rusher to reach out, and then you can knock them down. And so it's almost like a snatch trap. So you shoot yours out, he tries to shoot his back out, and then you pull yours back and get the advantage and knock him down. I don't think that's what he's doing here. I think he actually just misses with his hands. You see, he gets a little hands to the face there, and then 10 runs the arc on him, getting the pressure. But Burrow spins away from that, man. That's really nice agility, movement skills, pocket management out of Joe Burrow, because that's easily, I think, in the first 4 weeks, that's easily a straight up sack, right? We saw this was a forced fumble, I think, versus the Titans. Very similar situation. I want you to notice the play action here for the Bengals. I love play action that pulls a blocker. And why? Because defenders are not actually watching the ball a lot of times. They're not watching to say like, "Hey, is he handing the ball off?" No, what they're watching is are these guys pass setting, or are they coming up to try and block? Are they coming up to try and block? Because if they are, if you're reading the offensive line and those guys are coming up to block, you're like, "Okay, it's an actual run," because you can't be downfield on a pass play. So whenever you pull a guy and the linebackers see that, the second level defenders see that, immediately they trigger like, "Oh, it's a run," because you wouldn't pull a guy on a pass play. So what'd you get there? You ended up with this safety right here, right? This safety right here flying up. He drifted back into the spot. So we got this coming up. And now that's part of the coverage as well. But I think this safety here is really firing his gun and saying, "Oh, it's a run play," when it's actually not. So I like that. And I think it gives you the opportunity to create a big space between the second level defenders and the third level defenders. They didn't get to take advantage of it here, but they will in future plays coming up. We talked a lot about rotating and pushing off of that back foot when your calf isn't 100%. And we know Joe Burrow doesn't have the strongest arm ever. Well, this play here is going to be his longest air yards completion in his entire career, based on ball tracking and next gen stats and things like that. 58.1 yards, I believe it was. Back, I mean, that's better than he's ever done. But it's a good, strong throw. I actually thought he was overthrowing this one when we start, and we're gonna get play action. And just want to show real quick the coverage here, because we talked on my subscriber page on Twitter subscribers. We talked about how often the Arizona Cardinals like to play quarters coverage. With quarters, we talked about this against the Rams. The Rams game, the Rams are very similar in how often they play theirs. Each guy has their quadrant of the field. As long as they get past this second level of the defense. So if you got Jamar Chase running this route here, this guy's gonna get him, obviously. If you're running it here, this guy's gonna get him. And if he's running it here, that guy's gonna take him, right? But the fun part about this route is it's going to almost go this way, like, okay, you've got him, and then he's gonna break it. So he's gonna run a post. So really, this defender is gonna say, okay, he's not mine anymore. But yet this defender is never actually looking at Jamar Chase because he thinks he doesn't have anyone over here. If anything, he may have Irv Smith. But idea is to split that, get in front of this guy, behind this guy, and almost like he wants to pass him off, even though he knows I can't pass him off to anyone because this guy's not going to be there. But he's just, how are you going to run with Jamar Chase? How's any safety in the league going to run with Jamar Chase with a free release like that? So we see the play action, and we even got the pulling of Irv Smith. So again, I like that. And then look at Chase go, man. He hits the jets, he hits the burner, and he just takes off. And if I can go back and just show you what I meant in the coverage, this guy right here, he's hooking up. That's what he's looking at. Trenton Irwin. Irwin's hooking up in front of him. He's forcing him. That hook is forcing him to stop and pay attention. Meanwhile, this guy over here, the safety is expected to run with Jamar Chase. Good luck. And that ball is just absolutely launched a bomb 58 yards in the air from Joe Burrow to Jamar Chase. What a throw. Now watch the pocket too. So this play action, you're going to bring Irv Smith across. The pocket rolls. It's a moving pocket. Look how much room and time he's got back there. They don't do that enough. I slowed this down because this is not an easy catch. Out of all this that happened, you still have to make an incredibly hard catch over your shoulder to the opposite shoulder. So directly over your head to the opposite shoulder. That is not easy. And what I was talking about earlier with Irv, they run this a lot, right? We saw this first play of the game versus the Browns, right? Where they will block like this. So this looks like a run play. This is something they run multiple times in this game, I believe. So this is going to look like a run play completely on your play action, which I like. That freezes these guys just enough. And then just an absolute heave. And what I mean by why this is so hard. So right there, as your eyes are up, if you've never done this, and I know a lot of you have, if you just played catch, but try and do this next time. Have it go directly over your head, and you can't really track the ball because your hands have to go past your eyes. So you don't see your hands. If the camera even picks this up, you don't see your hands and the ball at the same time. As if when the ball's in front of you, you see your hands, right? Your hands and the ball, you can keep eyes on both of them. When it's like this, you don't see both. And then your head doesn't turn as fast as the ball is flying. So you just got to trust that your hands are in the right spot as you're tracking the ball. And then your eyes will end up following. So your eyes will end up taking a snapshot once it's already in your hand. And you'll see it. And it's pretty scary, but incredible catch by Jamar Chase. Next play here to show us that Joe Burrow might just be back. Very similar to some of those red zone plays where everyone's covered. Everyone's covered, and there's a little bit of pressure coming from the tackle positions. And Joe Burrow this time takes off. He's got room to run, and man, that might be the highest top speed he's hit since he hurt his calf. So that's good to see. Being able to run, being able to create with your legs is so big in the NFL. And I don't even think it's really a pressure, maybe a little bit of discomfort, but I think it's that everyone's covered. Oh, do you see that? Watch how he fakes out 32 here as he comes down. He's going to just one little glance to the side, and 32 is going to go with him. I mean, that's when you're feeling it. That's what it looks like when you have your confidence back. Not only is he running quickly, but it seems he's got his confidence there enough to toy with defenders. And it's the micro movements in the pocket, too. He wasn't able to do this the first 3 weeks for sure. But you've got to be able to make small movements in the pocket That there, not an elongated leap or jump or dragging that back foot. That's just a flip of the hips, step up, step out, and then take off running. That's vintage Joe Burrow. Very next play, start of the fourth quarter, and Joe Burrow's going to have to run again right away, 2 for 2. And this time, it's not going to go very far. He takes a hit on the back of his legs. I was a little nervous watching this one, but let's keep an eye on Volson and Karras at center and left guard, respectively. And that's where the pressure comes from. They get a little locked on these guys sometimes, and they don't pass off stunts very well at all. There were multiple sacks given up in this game because they just end up locked onto their guys, and maybe they're coached to do that. But man, I think after this game, they may need to make an adjustment there because from Burrow's perspective, this guy is running free right at him. And if you go back and look, Tyler Boyd's wide open and turned around expecting the ball. Burrow's looking this way. He probably would have gotten to Boyd and got a 10-yard pickup at least. I don't, he's not streaking downfield or anything, but he's hooked up and on the sideline waiting for the ball. And you've got what appears to be a free rusher here. So Burrow sees that. Nice minor movement again. Little flex of the knee right. Nope, I'm going left. Jump away from him and then climb the pocket. Dive forward. I mean, that's multiple plays there where it looks like he's back to normal and looking athletic and spry. Next play, they do not hit on this one, but it's the flea flicker. This is actually the same exact play they run versus the Browns last year when Trent Irwin scored on that flea flicker. So many times in this game, Irwin was just hooking up at that 6 to 8 yard range, and he caught 8 passes in this game because of it. So as he's doing this, he's also in a lot of the run plays coming up and attacking that strong safety and trying to get a block on that guy. So if you do that now at this point 20 times and he catches 8 passes on it and he blocks for another 10 of them, well, now they're waiting for it. Now they're expecting it. So as you hand that ball off, you saw the way he ran that, right? He ran it this way like he was going to go for the block. You get this guy to plant his feet. You get this guy to plant his feet, and then you take it upfield. And this guy, look where his eyes are. You see Tyler Boyd over here? What does Tyler Boyd got to do to get back involved in this offense? The play's always going to Trent Irwin here, and he's open. I wonder if this is T. Higgins. Does he get to this pass? But why I like this for Joe Burrow is he's got to climb up. He throws this on the run, basically, in his Jordans. Oh, just out of the reach. But climbing up into the pocket, not really being able to set your feet, which is probably why he throws this probably a yard, maybe a yard and a half too far. Look, everyone gets sucked up. Watch the second level defenders here. And this is not a play action. Does this classify as a play action? You're faking a run. But look at all these guys. He runs in. He runs in. He runs in. You've got such a gap here. I think if Boyd was just hooking up over here, you'd be good. You could run this more often, right? Why does it work now? Why does the flea flicker work in this scenario? Steps up, absolute heave. That goes about 53 to 55 yards, depending on how you want to count that. Final play here to show us that Joe Burrow and Ja'Marr Chase and this passing offense may be just back. We're in the goal line. We need a touchdown. It's third down again. They've been stopped all game within the 10-yard line, running the ball, getting stuffed. And we've got Trent Irwin running out. And we've got Ja'Marr Chase, and I don't know what the idea is here. Is he trying to tie this guy up to get Irwin free, to make an easy, quick throw for Irwin? Possible. But then we're going to see Chase go along the back of the end zone and find his way open eventually. So let's watch this. Let's let it roll. as Burrow looks that way real quick and just completely comes off of it, right? I don't know what they expected that to be or look like there. Did they expect more confusion? And he sees here, I mean, like, Chase is doubled. Can you launch this back? Can you say, hey, I can maybe get this here and will he undercut, or is that risky? Is it risky that the Cardinals player, defensive back, may get his eyes on it and jump it? Well, we know what happens here, so let's let it roll, and I'll show you the points that I wanted to bring up as Chase catches his third touchdown of the game and pretty much putting this one out of reach. Play action, look left. Play action, look left. Not there. Roll to the right. Eyes back to the left again, one more time. And I circled this guy down here because I thought he would be able to get into the play. And I think not having another player running a route out here and then Burrow putting his eyes back this way really froze this guy. And like he's like, where are you throwing this ball? Where are you looking? And then Burrow flips right away and launches it. So you may have frozen that guy just enough to keep that window open to make that throw. I think it's even more impressive from this angle and from this vantage point because you're going to see Burrow roll right and then look left. Okay. He's looking left and looking for Jamar Chase, right? Because we know he is. Watch this defender. When he looks left, this guy turns like, who are you looking at? Where is Jamar Chase? That freezes him just enough. Now the window is going to be right here. You got to throw that so far ahead. I mean, the timing and the anticipation of where to throw this thing, like he's releasing it now. And I mean, like, if you were to ask me where does this ball go if I'd never seen it, I'd say, I don't know, right there on a line. No, he's throwing it here. This guy's getting into his face. He's gonna lob it up here. I just think this is a very, very anticipation and accuracy to get it out there at that point. I mean, he has to know Jamar Chase's speed, like he's been throwing to him for years, and he has. He looks back to me, but some common threads there, and the idea of why he looks back to me. One common thread is how many times were those guys covered on those plays? I mean, how many times did I say nobody's open? Nobody's open. It didn't work. Half, if not more than half of those plays I showed. And that was the issues for the first 4 weeks. And why we were ragging on Zach Taylor and Callahan and the scheme is because if the quarterback can't create, if he's not a magician off script with great accuracy and touch and timing with Jamar Chase and like a psychic connection with Chase, does this offense work? So you see that in this and why he needs to be at that level for it to work. Scary to say, but it's good to see him play like that and see him play. And it wasn't even his best game. He threw an interception, and I think even though Irwin fell on it and got knocked down, I don't think that was the right read. That'll be for another time. I'll probably post that on Twitter. I don't know if we'll do that for the end of the week show. Uh, there was also a play to Tyler Boyd out route where he left it inside and it should have been intercepted. There was a couple of just errant misses. Not his best game ever. He also had he had one play definitely taken off the board that should have been a touchdown. They called a legal hands to the face on Alex Kappa. That was not. He got his hand lifted by the defender. That's a common move. I don't know how that got misconstrued. So production-wise, it could have been a monster game, but it wasn't his best game overall, or it was his best game this year for sure. But a great sign that he's on the right track. And I was told that they expected this re-injury to not take as long as the last one to recover from once they got to the Rams game and they're like, okay, he's going to play. They don't expect this injury to be as long, this recovery to be as long. It is interesting to see that if he is last week, I mean, we were saying what, 60%? If that's 85% Burrow already, one more game and then a bye week, he could be back 100% or pretty close to it for that 49ers, for that Bills game. And that's when the schedule gets tough. That's when it gets hard. That's when you need that guy to be ready to go. Same thing for Irwin and Higgins. Maybe rest Higgins one more week against the Seahawks. Then you give them the bye week. So you really get 3 weeks to rest those ribs and bring them back out there for when we need them. I thought Irwin was fine. I thought Yoshi was fine. He almost made 2 really nice sideline grabs. There was actually another play. Burrow throws it away. Yoshi wins deep, and he's gone. And I don't think he's part of the progression based on the coverage they got. But, man, I think he should have been. I think there's a couple plays in this, and maybe it's just the Cardinals' defense, but there was a couple plays in this game where I thought, this could work if you had this guy hooking. This could work if you had this guy going coming across the middle, if you had this guy going deep. And, I mean, that's how it works. Coaches are going to look at this and say, it's a new play we're trying. Not quite right, but we're close if we switch this or add this or change this based on what you're expecting defenses to show you or how they react to your new looks. So we're seeing a lot of motion. We're seeing a lot heavy usage and a game plan to get the ball into Jamar Chase's hands, which I don't think anybody would disagree with. The run game struggled for the first time all year, struggled to get 4 yards of carry. They were really, especially on the goal line, they gave it to Mixon 3 times in a row, twice, and we couldn't get in. That's a concern. The usage for Mixon is getting incredibly high. His snap share is incredibly high, highest has ever been in the league in his career. He's on pace for 300 touches total. I mean, they're going to wear this guy out at this pace, and they're going to wear him out at 3.9 yards per carry. They've got to figure something else out there. We got to see someone else get some snaps and get some carries, and because we're going to need them. And so I hope that's a target for the coming weeks. Maybe you get into some blowout games or easy games. That would be awesome. I want to get ahead of myself. They are still 2-3. But even if you're losing these blowout games, like the Titans game last week, that should have been a let's see Chase Brown carry the ball 6 times type game. Being up by 2 touchdowns versus the Cardinals this week should have been let's see Chase Brown carry the ball again. So they got to figure out more ways to get these backups involved. Travion Williams makes a mistake at the end of this Cardinals game. That can't help him. Ended up getting a free shot on Burrow. He just went down, but you can't risk that. That's scary that he couldn't take a clear communication right next to him. So it's not all good. And we just focused on the offense in this episode. I do want to get to some defensive stuff on the next episode this week. So I hope you join me for that. Again, this is Bengals on the Brain. I'm Joe Goodberry. The show is brought to you by First Star Logistics. And again, get into these contests. You're crazy if you don't. Also, we still have books, player evaluation guides, 2023. They're collectibles at this point, but you still reference a lot of players and stat projections and interesting things that I think are still able to come to fruition. Go to firststarlogistics.com, scroll all the way to the bottom, fill out your information. They will send you a book. It's that simple. This one right here. They'll send you that, not Mew. They'll send you the book. Until next time, Hooday.
Dave Lapham here, and every day I am grateful for my experience to have played professional football. As a player, I realized self-motivation, leadership, and appreciating your teammates are key. At First Star Logistics, you can use those same attributes to create the life you want for you and your family. Build your future by working hard like I did. You'll see results both on and off the field. Call First Star Logistics today and be part of our winning team.
Opportunity knocking.